Welcome back to AI for the Humanities. I'm Megan McInnes Dominguez, Associate Professor of Spanish at the University of Delaware, and this channel is your go-to resource for exploring the intersection of generative AI and humanities education. We'll dive into the latest developments in large language models, or LLMs, as well as image generators, video generators, and more, discussing their benefits, challenges, ethical considerations, and practical applications in the classroom. Whether you're new to AI or have already been integrating it into your teaching, you'll find insights and strategies here to help navigate this evolving landscape. Today, we're focusing on Google Gemini, Google's latest multimodal AI model that builds on advances in natural language processing, knowledge retrieval, and media generation. What makes Gemini different from other LLMs? What are its strengths and limitations? And how might it be useful for humanities education? To guide us through this, I'm joined by Carson Ziluca, who'll break down what Gemini can do, demonstrate some of its capabilities, and explore its potential applications and ethical concerns. Before we begin, I want to highlight an important note for educators and students. My university, the University of Delaware, has an institutional license for Google Gemini, which means that our students' data is protected under university policies when they use this. If you're at another institution, I encourage you to check whether or not your school has a similar agreement to ensure safe and ethical AI use. Now let's dive in and see what Gemini has to offer.
Hello everyone, my name is Carson Ziluca. I'm a junior at University of Delaware, and I'm a 3 foreign languages major, which is Spanish, Italian, and Russian for me, with a minor in cognitive science and in global studies. And the AI interface that I was tasked with researching is Google Gemini. Gemini is revolutionizing the way that we interact with artificial intelligence. So let me start by sharing something cool that it just wrote. Gemini in action, it came up with a very formal short story. And here I'll show there's a little edit button. You can actually adjust your prompt and it will then adjust its response accordingly after you've already submitted it, which is a neat feature, and it gave another short story. Pretty impressive, right? This is just one of the many things that Gemini can do, and in this video, I'll dive into the capabilities, how it works, and some of the challenges that it faces. So what exactly is Google Gemini? To put it simply, it's an advanced language model that's capable of understanding and generating human-like text. But what sets it apart from other language models is its ability to work in multiple domains, from research assistance to creative writing, and even translating languages. In fact, it's part of a broader effort by Google's AI team to build more intuitive, multimodal tools. And today, we'll not only look at its strengths, but also the potential risks that come with such powerful technology. First, let's talk about its natural language understanding. Gemini can grasp complex prompts and generate highly relevant responses. It's not just about spitting out information, it actually understands the context behind your question. For instance, if I were to ask it about the impact of climate change on ocean currents, it wouldn't just give a basic definition, it would pull from a vast knowledge base, synthesizing data to give a detailed and well-rounded response. So, as shown, Gemini can take a complex query and provide detailed information on the topic, making it useful for research or academic purposes. Next up, text generation. One of the most impressive aspects of Gemini is how well it can generate text in various formats, whether it's an essay, article, code, or even a creative piece, as I showed earlier. Watch as it quickly generates a comprehensive, coherent response. For researchers, writers, and students, this is a powerful tool to streamline the writing process. Gemini also has robust language translation capabilities. Whether you're working with Spanish, Russian, Mandarin, or even less common languages, Gemini can help bridge the gap, a very useful tool for someone like me. One of Gemini's most powerful features is its vast knowledge base. It's trained on an enormous amount of data from books, articles, websites, and more. So when you ask a question, you're not just getting surface-level responses, it's capable of pulling from a wide range of sources to provide an in-depth and reliable answer. Here's where things get really interesting and fun to play around with. Gemini is not just limited to text, it's multimodal, meaning it can process and generate different types of media, like images and even audio. For example, it can take a description of a scene and generate an image to match, or interpret a set of data and present it in a chart. This opens up incredible possibilities for designers, researchers, and content creators. Let's put Gemini to the test. First, we'll do a simple search to show how quickly and accurately it can provide answers. As you can see, it's pretty efficient at pulling relevant data, but now let's try something a bit more complex. The right prompt is key. A more precise and detailed prompt can lead to a much richer, more nuanced response. That's something to keep in mind when using Gemini and any AI, really. I've found in my own personal experimentation that if there's potential nuance in your wording regarding the meaning of the prompt, it's likely to reply with information that's not relevant at all to what you were looking for, so be careful. Now onto the basis of my work for this internship, AI for the humanities. Gemini has exciting applications in various fields. For students, researchers, or anyone needing to gather information quickly, Gemini can be a game changer. It helps you collect and analyze data, offering summaries, insights, and references. It's great for starting your research, or as a second opinion when sifting through complex material. Another fascinating application, and one of my favorites to play around with when I was starting out, is in creative writing. Writers can use Gemini to brainstorm ideas, develop characters, and even write full drafts. It doesn't replace the creative process, but it serves as a powerful assistant. I once asked Gemini to help develop a character as an experiment, and it provided a fully fleshed out backstory, motivations, and even potential conflicts for that character. Despite the controversy on AI regarding cheating, Gemini also has potential as a language learning tool. It can help you practice speaking, provide real-time feedback, and even teach grammar or new vocabulary. You can have conversations with it in your target language, which is a fantastic way to practice. Finally, Gemini is a great tool for cultural understanding. Whether you're looking to learn about world history, traditions, or global perspectives, Gemini can provide a detailed and comprehensive overview. As amazing and helpful as I've found Google Gemini to be, no AI tool is without its downsides. Let's take a look at some of the risks. First, there's the issue of bias. Like many AI models, Gemini can inadvertently perpetuate biases or stereotypes that exist in the data that it was trained on. While the developmental team at Google works hard to minimize this, it is an ongoing challenge. Another concern is misinformation. While Gemini can provide detailed answers, it might sometimes generate incorrect or misleading information, especially if it's been trained on outdated or inaccurate data. This is something that I found personally when I was experimenting. I took some of my coursework where I knew the answers objectively, and I input the questions as prompts, but found that the answers were slightly off, and when I checked the source, it was an earlier source than the one that we were using for our class. So it's important to cross-check sources when using AI-generated content. Ethical concerns are a big topic with any AI. Issues like privacy, the potential for job displacement, and how AI can be misused, such as cheating, as I mentioned earlier, are all real risks that come with these technologies. Developers are constantly working on ethical guidelines, but it's something we all need to be mindful of at least. And what about inappropriate content? I asked Gemini at the beginning how it filters this, and it explained that it uses content moderation techniques, including pre- and post-processing of generated content, to ensure that it stays safe for users. One last small thing that I noticed about Gemini is its formal tone. It's fantastic for academic writing or professional work, but personally I find the responses a bit less engaging compared to more conversational AI, so depending on what you're using it for, the tone may take some getting used to. So now for some of the developments and recent updates with Gemini, I think we'll start with the launch of the Gemini 1 series and then advancements in Gemini 1.5. So Gemini debuted with the Gemini 1 series in late 2023. The initial models, Gemini 1, 1.5, and later versions, they marked a significant leap in performance, particularly in the areas of the multimodal capabilities, especially with sophisticated text generation and integration with Google's existing ecosystem. The 1.5 series, which arrived in early 2024, was especially notable for improving accuracy, efficiency, and the ability to handle complex queries. Additionally, a major issue with AI is the energy consumption, so a notable update in the latest version is the integration of AI models that consume less energy. Google's been prioritizing sustainability in AI development, with Gemini being optimized for lower energy consumption while still delivering high performance. With these developments, Gemini has also been more deeply integrated into Google's larger ecosystem of tools, including Google Search, Google Workspace, and even Google Assistant. So with the search integration, it offers more conversational search results, and it can provide long-form answers and follow-up prompts in the style of a more natural dialogue, which is great for general inquiries in Google, and a step forward from the typical keyword-based search that Google's known for. With Workspace integration, in the Workspace, Gemini is being used to help users write emails, generate reports, summarize meetings, and even assist with coding tasks. So it's positioned as a major tool for productivity in both individual and collaborative settings. And then lastly, with Google Assistant, Its role has extended far beyond basic query answering. It can now assist with a wider range of tasks, from giving advice on projects to answering questions. But with all of these developments, it's now way more context aware. So some of the key events and current trends relating to Google Gemini. A really important event was the Google I/O 2024 Developer Conference, which released one of the most anticipated announcements about a deeper dive into, as I keep saying, Gemini's multimodal functions and AI-powered tools. So specifically, this was about better image and video understanding, revealing new features around Gemini's ability to not only generate images, but also analyze and interpret visual content. One of the new features allowed users to upload images or videos, and Gemini would be able to provide detailed commentary or even help with editing and reworking content based on those specific prompts. And then real-time feedback and AI collaboration. 1.5, Gemini's 1.5 collaboration features were also enhanced, so developers and content creators can now use Gemini for real-time brainstorming, idea generation, technical problem solving, things relating to just creative projects, which could include the enhanced collaborative tools for remote teams working on projects like app development or writing. So of course, as is a concern with all AI, privacy and ethical concerns were discussed at a recent privacy conference in 2024 with a focus on data privacy and how Gemini and other AI systems interact with sensitive information. So one issue raised is the potential for Gemini to inadvertently process sensitive data, whether through search queries or personal interactions, in ways that may violate privacy standards. And Google has emphasized their ongoing work to ensure that AI privacy is a key priority, especially as these models handle more diverse types of content, especially with people becoming more comfortable with the use of AI. But with this comes the misuse of AI. So with the power of text generation and deepfakes, which is altering a video or a picture of a person in which like their face or body is different, typically used maliciously or to spread false information. Gemini could potentially be misused to generate this misinformation or the harmful content, or even fake reviews has been a common issue. So Google's worked on improving content moderation, ensuring that its models do not promote this inappropriate content. Another important trend with Gemini is that it's seen an uptick in academic partnerships since its launch, with universities using the tool to assist in research across disciplines like social sciences, linguistics, medicine, and of course a lot more. These partnerships have led to some exciting collaborations where researchers are leveraging Gemini's ability to process large data sets, summarize academic papers, and even generate new hypotheses. And it's mutually beneficial because as a part of these collaborations, Gemini gets to undergo real-world testing, with academic experts providing feedback on its accuracy and reliability in various fields. So lastly, I just want to touch on some of the things that I found kind of interesting in some of my puttering around research with Gemini when I was first starting out. One of the first things is that I asked Gemini about the origin of its name, rather than just like Googling it and figuring out what it was actually named after. It looks like Gemini itself doesn't know, but it replied saying the name Gemini likely refers to the constellation Gemini, which is associated with twins. This might symbolize the idea of two distinct but complementary aspects of Gemini, its ability to understand and generate both text and other forms of media. Another thing I asked Gemini, which was right around the time when I was noticing the difference in tone between Gemini and other AI language models, was just some of the generic differences between the two of them. And I think it really took that, in the prompt I mentioned, I was like the difference in tone. I think it took that to heart or something, because in all of these answers, it was almost a little sassy. But it said, some key differences you might notice are the formal tone. Gemini often adopts a more formal tone than ChatGPT, especially when dealing with complex or technical topics. So it's completely dependent on what you ask of it. Informative content, Gemini is focused on providing detailed and accurate information rather than engaging in casual conversation. Task-oriented, Gemini is designed to assist with tasks and provide solutions rather than simply engaging in social interaction. However, it's important to note that these are general guidelines, and Gemini may vary in its responses depending on the context and the specific prompt. It almost sounded like there was a little attitude, a little competition with ChatGPT, but that could have completely been from the way I worded it. Another thing I was really excited about in the beginning was how Gemini cites its sources. So when I would ask more like research questions or research-oriented questions, and it would come up with the answer and then cite the source where I got the information from, if it was just a summary or pulling a couple points from that. That was really exciting, especially because of the ethical concerns with AI. So that's definitely very helpful for like academic settings rather than it just being cheating, because you're pulling this information from a not actual source. For it to give you a summary of a source before you actually like cite the source or like put it in your paper so that you know whether or not it's actually necessary for you. I thought that was really, really exciting and would be very helpful to use. Continuing on this little ethical topic, I asked why or how it marks content as inappropriate, and it replied with a couple of its like policies. So it deduces whether content is harmful, so content that's it says violent, threatening, or abusive. Unsafe, this includes content that promotes illegal or harmful activities. Biased, this includes content that is discriminatory or offensive. And unfair, this includes content that is unfair or misleading. If you have any specific examples in mind, I can provide a more tailored response. So I thought that was very, very interesting. It didn't give me specifics on how it actually deduces what is or is not offensive or unsafe, but I don't remember exactly what it was, because it was a fleeting moment when I was using Gemini for something not related to this internship, but it did mark something that I asked as inappropriate when I completely thought that it wasn't. But honestly, I would rather it be over cautious than not regarding content creation or just like summarizing things, or like I think it was I was asking it to read a website and give me a little summary on it, but it wasn't like comfortable with using it. But again, I think it's completely way better to be overly safe. One thing that I wrote down to completely emphasize the point of making sure that your prompts are specific and detailed and not ambiguous is I asked Gemini to give me a summary of a video, and the link wasn't working, and it was giving me reasons. It was saying, I'm sorry, but I'm unable to access this YouTube content. This is possible for a number of reasons, but the most common are the content isn't a valid YouTube link, the video is potentially unsafe, the content does not have a captions file that I can read, or the video language is currently not supported. And I kept trying because I was like, this link should work, but it's not unsafe. It was a TED Talk. And I tried again with the website link on the TEDx website, and it just kept saying it was unable to access the YouTube video. So then when I replied and I was like, it's not on YouTube, it's on the TED.com website, Gemini replied with, my apologies, you're absolutely right. I can access and process information from TED Talks. Here's a summary of etc., etc. So I thought that it was really interesting how sometimes it's not just Gemini's incapabilities, it's way more capable than I thought it was. It's just that I worded the prompt wrong for how it's specifically been programmed to respond or to find information. So it's really just such a variable thing, and it's so important to work on these prompts and to get experience and practice how Gemini is actually like encoded to respond. And a final exciting little thing is for the nerd in any of us, that Gemini shows the drafts that it makes for a writing piece usually. So it'll tell you what it started with. You can open to see the drafts that it made and how it edited itself before it gave you the finished product. So when I was having it just write a little piece for me, it came up with like 2 or 3 drafts before it had the little piece, and it's very entertaining to see just the way that it works and it edits itself before it deems what it gives you to be the best option. So that is all I have for today. I can't wait to make the next video where I get to talk about more specifics because there is just so much to delve into with Gemini. And I asked Gemini to write a little goodbye message for everyone to close off the video. So it said, "Thanks for watching. I hope this video sparked your interest in Gemini. I look forward to continuing to learn and grow alongside this incredible technology." And then it told me, "I hope this one hits the mark." So just a nice little goodbye, and I can't wait to see what's in store.
That wraps up our introduction to Google Gemini. As we've seen, this AI model has impressive capabilities, from text generation and research assistance to multimodal functionality that expands beyond text-based responses. But like all AI tools, it comes with limitations, including biases, misinformation risks, and ethical considerations that require careful thought. If you're interested in experimenting with Gemini, I encourage you to explore its applications in your field while remaining mindful of its challenges. And if your institution offers an AI license like UD's, take advantage of that added layer of privacy and security when using these tools in academic settings. AI is rapidly evolving, and the humanities play a crucial role in shaping its ethical and creative dimensions. What do you think? Could Gemini be useful in your research or teaching? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more discussions at the intersection of AI and the humanities. See you in the next video.
We've got to stay aware. Use it with caution. Think before you share. A Gemini knows, Gemini shows, but it's up to us how far it goes. A tool to explore, a world to create. With the humanities we innovate. It helps us define culture and language across space and time. Multimodal magic, text, image, sound. Yet some say its voice is too formal, too bound. Virgin learning, answers on demand. But is it perfect? We must take a stand. Bias and glitches, we've got to stay aware. Use it with caution. Think before you share. A Gemini knows, Gemini shows, but it's up to us how far it goes. A tool to explore, a world to create. With the humanities we innovate. But we hold the key. How we use AI shapes our history. With wisdom, with care, we lead the way. The humanities voice will never fade away. So test it, try it, see what it can do. But don't forget the